Final 3 games here we're purchasing: Wizard of Walls, Riptide Renegade, Congo Bongo. So now that we got all the games downloaded to our system, there's some rumored titles, some licensing that I caught wind about on P-Dub's Arcade Loft's last live stream. This isn't confirmed, but there were possible licensing that iiRcade was about to acquire. Sega titles was one, Virtua Fighter. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs was an interesting Capcom title that iiRcade maybe would have acquired. We didn't see this from Arcade 1-Up. We saw Knights of the Round, Kings of Dragons, but Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, another great beat-em-up game. Was it possible that we could have had this on the iiRcade? Alien vs. Predator is another title. This would have been great to play online, something Arcade 1-Up have not given us yet. Just imagine getting games like Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Alien vs. Predator, just titles to go along with great cabinets. The Yoga Flame or the Shinku Hadouken, one of my favorite cabinets, do have some great beat-em-up games, but they don't have Alien vs. Predator. They don't have Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. iiRcade could have given us other titles. I mean, just imagine having all of these possibilities, pushing all these companies to give us the best and exactly what we want. Arcade 1-Up's given us some Konami titles, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Along with the Turtles in Time cabinet, The Simpsons and X-Men, my all-time favorite cabinet, all matched. They were the same shape. The 3 Konami beat-em-ups. But we all wanted one more. There was one thing missing that we didn't get yet, and that was Sunset Riders. We didn't see it from Arcade 1-Up. iiRcade rumored Konami titles, and Sunset Riders is the first Konami title that comes to mind, along with Lethal Enforcers, another light gun game. And guess what? They had the USBs where we could plug those right into. Now I just want to state this is not confirmed. P-Dub's Arcade Loft's last live stream, which originally aired Saturday, June 17th, 2023. I watched it on the replay yesterday, Monday, June 19th, and I noticed that my buddy Multicade Matt was a special guest. So I turned it on. I was downstairs working out, about to go on the treadmill, and before Matt made his appearance, P-Dubs talked about not confirmed new titles. Looking at the gazebo where I usually open up on most of the walk and talks, Target's just kind of off to the distance over there. Behind me usually are people sitting over here on a Sunday morning, just walking back here quick just to see what's back here. Looks like a bike trail. Kind of a peaceful area off of a busy shopping center. Now, a lot of people know this, and I just want to go over very quickly that the 3 major licenses were Capcom, Sega, and Konami. And I heard Sunset Riders, Virtua Fighters, and then the whole Capcom thing, you kind of go from there. I mean, you just think of what Arcade 1-Up's given us. Every Street Fighter 2, a lot of the beat-em-ups, Final Fight, Knights of the Round, King of Dragons. We've seen a lot of Capcom games, Marvel, but there's 2 games we haven't seen yet, and I think this was a very good possibility for the iiRcade, Alien vs. Predator, and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. And P-Dub said Konami. Sunset Riders was listed immediately. The second game I thought about was Lethal Enforcers. Now just think for 1 second. Let's say Arcade 1-Up lasts 5 more years. In 5 years, how many more shooting cabinets could Arcade 1-Up give us? They couldn't do all of them. All the big ones. I mean, we could talk about this forever. Having the chance of iiRcade having these shooters, having Operation Wolf already, Operation Thunderbolt, and I kind of thought that Operation Wolf 3 was coming out really soon. If they had Lethal Enforcers, how huge would that have been? Plus Lethal Enforcers 2, the Old West. Konami, we don't know anything other than the Sunset Riders, but just thinking about Sunset Riders for a second, another possible online play that we could play with someone, that's a great game. It'd be so fun having that on an iiRcade. It was at this very GameStop when Biggie D's Arcade dropped the news that Golden Axe for Arcade 1-Up was on sale for $349, and that sale lasted for a good week or two. Anyone who wanted that cabinet had every chance, including myself, to pick that up, and I passed on it. I don't know if I bought Star Wars. There was a reason that I couldn't swing and get a second arcade that same month or billing cycle, and I kind of made a point that, hey, how you guys doing? I kind of made a point. Say hi.
Hi. What's your ad?
PD7.
Okay, I'll follow.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I made a point that I'm gonna buy as many Sega titles for the iiRcade as I can, and after today, the only Sega title I think I didn't buy was Bonanza Brothers. But going back to Sega, Virtua Fighters was the game P-Dubs mentioned, plus, I mean, the countless possibilities of Virtua Cop 2, and what I've been saying for a long time, House of the Dead. I still haven't done my intro. Welcome to a midweek walk and talk, and a special walk and talk where I was going to originally do a send-off for iiRcade as a recording of this Tuesday, June 20th, 2023, the night before iiRcade closes its doors for good. This episode is all about a conspiracy theory. I'm going to take you back to last Friday, June 16th, when that original second sale was supposed to end. We find out iiRcade is closing its doors on the 21st. We find out all this other information. They bring Glenn on. P-Dubs does a live stream June 17th, the next day on Saturday. Couple of community posts, and then Michael B, the Game Genie, brings Michael from iiRcade on last night, Monday night, the 19th, and Michael didn't spill the beans, but I put all this together. It all came to me. I wanted to do a send-off video, and I have a completely different angle I want to say for iiRcade. Mr. Fox, I have a conspiracy theory about iiRcade. This is going to be a good one. I know you're going to want to stick around and hear it. This video starts off Friday, June 16th. iiRcade has a live stream, and during that live stream they pretty much say they're closing, and as of Wednesday the 21st they will be no more, and just about the point where you're getting teary-eyed, where it's just the saddest stuff you've ever heard. Glenn comes on with his control panel, and the mood completely changes. The atmosphere, it went from doom to complete positivity, excitement, and energy was flowing. Have you ever noticed that the Dollar Tree, it's not just $1 anymore, it's kind of like Five Below, like it's $5.50 or it's $6. The Dollar Tree is slowly going up in price. So are iiRcade games on their site. Not everything had that discount in the last couple of days. They've slowly been removing some of those sales. You can see Petco off to a distance behind me. What I thought was very interesting about that live stream, kind of shadowing out here, when Glenn came on, it was kind of like I just expected John and Michael to just kind of fade off and let Glenn take it. He's got the control panel, and it's what we all want to hear. Endless possibilities. We can play light gun games. We can put whatever we want on our iiRcade, and they hung out and hung out and hung out, and the show kept going on. And after that ended, I kind of thought to myself, it was kind of weird because I didn't expect them to just stay that long. And I thought about it the next couple of days, and you know, it just kind of like slowly left my mind. But it was very interesting how, I know they're passionate, it's their company, you know, their heart and souls were into the iiRcade. But at some point, I mean, it's bankrupt, they're closing. I just expected them to say, here you go, Glenn. And the fact that Glenn waited for their approval as a third-party seller. Now think about this. If they're closing, he wouldn't need it. Does Joe Sabos need approval from any of these other home arcade companies to make a marquee? No, he just does it. Glenn waited until they made this announcement, like there was some kind of like deal in place. And how does that work when a company is going out of business? You know, we all kind of just sat there like, well, when's Glenn gonna put this out? Well, he needs their approval. They're going out of business, they're bankrupt. What's he really waiting for? It kind of made me think about it. There's a ton of Fox in this area. Then going into P-Dub's last live stream where he announced the Konami the Sega and the Capcom, and again, these are unconfirmed, but just to go over everything, made me kind of think of House of the Dead was really a possibility. Maybe I just wasn't imagining that. Just to note, there's some good sales on some of these PlayStation, Xbox lights at Hobby Lobby. You know, the thing is I don't get in here, if it's the weekend and I'm doing a walk and talk, you know, Hobby Lobby's closed on Sundays. It's Tuesday night. I thought, hey, this is a good time to come here. I am noticing there is some new stuff here. You know, we were probably here, what, 2-3 weeks ago. Watching Michael B's show with Michael from iiRcade last night, there were some super chats going, and you know, they kind of wanted him to spill the beans, like, can you just confirm anything? Can you give us any news on what was going to come out? And he couldn't. He goes, I can't yet, I gotta wait. Well, I mean, realistically, what did you really have to wait for? Tomorrow they're going to be out of business. By the time, you know, if I was going to report this, or anyone, by the time it hits, I mean, it's going to be, they're going to be pretty much closed anyways. What's the worst that could happen to a company that's not going to be there? And just looking back on Biggie D's post yesterday, all the in-city games were free, except Once Upon a Time in Halloween. All this stuff is new. I didn't see this Batman logo. I said that there was one, there's another Hobby Lobby I'll go to on the other side of town, and it's the Bat logo, like you see on his chest right here. And there's like this red LED light. It just like hangs on the wall. I didn't see that one here. Really similar to that logo, but it's just imagining that being huge, probably as wide as that, and it just illuminates on the wall. That would be something I'd like to get. There's some new stuff here. Really cool. I haven't seen the Flash movie yet. I watched a little bit of the Zod Riders review. I didn't want to see too much of it. I don't know what to think. There's already mixed rumblings about it, and I'm kind of worried. I was really hoping that DC would really have a banger with this movie. Right around the corner from where all that Batman stuff was. I always liked this area. It's just stuff you could randomly put in the kitchen, you know, Coca-Cola, the concessions. Let's get out to the lobby, grab some snacks, the coffee from friends. If Mystery Encoder pretty much guarantees they're going to be able to give us all the games for the iiRcade in their soft mod or hack, whatever you want to call it, why, you know, this, so they give you the city games. Why couldn't they give us more? And why was it just those? Kind of a random spot for Iron Man over here. Really caught my eye. There's nothing really else down that aisle across over here. And some Marvel, some Death Star, Captain America. You know what? What does all this have in common besides Batman here? Just pretend Batman's not there. Yeah, Captain America, Hulk, Spider-Man, Death Star, Disney. Disney, it's something I want to share with you. There are companies that actually went bankrupt and came back. Marvel was one of them. Disney bought them. You know what else was another one? GM, Chrysler, just notable stuff. What's this one back here? Spider-Man and Venom. The first thing I thought of was Hostess. Hostess went out of business, and you know, you didn't see the cupcakes, you didn't see the Twinkies, you didn't see the Wonder Bread. And then all of a sudden somebody bought out Hostess again, and now you're seeing them. You know, you're going to the grocery store, you're going to Walmart, Target, wherever, you're seeing Hostess again. Came from around this corner. Like, the thing about Hobby Lobby is you really gotta go through aisle to aisle to find other stuff. There's 50% off. I saw some 70% off when we walked in. It's a nice Pac-Man right here. I hope I don't lose you on this one. This one, this is, I kind of wanted to save this for this point of the video. What if somebody else buys iiRcade? What if down the road, very soon, they're back and running again, just under new ownership? Is that even possible? Game on. Glenn's control panel saved the day. One more row, the dork in me. Like, this is everything that I'm into. When I come to Hobby Lobby, it's mostly the superhero stuff. And you know, you're just blown away by this. And the thing is all Hobby Lobbies are different, all Targets, all Best Buys. You got to go from store to store to find stuff nowadays. Interesting thing, takeaway from Michael B's live stream with Michael, there are some killer sales on these. $14.74 for this Pac-Man, $7.49 for this Captain America, $19.99 for Venom. So if you're near a Hobby Lobby, you might want to come by at 75% off. Huge sales going on here. This might be minor, but I just want to throw this in there because I'm spinning this. Michael originally said he was going to go to Cleveland for the Cleveland Gaming Classic. Last night, he said, well, I might. I don't know if I'll make it yet. I'm 5 hours from Cleveland if I'm still in Chicago. I could be out of the country. Well, what does that mean? Or I could be out west. The out of the country thing made me really think, where's iiRcades from? Korea. Just imagine though, I mean, how big Marvel is. I mean, it's kind of died down just a little from where it was, but you know, with all the Avenger movies, with the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, everything that's happened, Marvel has just dominated movies. They were once bankrupt. I mean, just think about that for a second and think about where they're at now. I forgot to mention one major company that was once bankrupt. Seriously, is this imaginable? And is there a chance iiRcade, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, I'm gonna just get nailed in the comments for this. Is there a chance that we will see them open again? Not just being able to take those cabinets and put whatever we want on there. Is there a chance? New ownership for iiRcade. And just going off a community post from P-Dub's Arcade Loft today, just looking at the iiRcade wrap-up, see below. Download all your games to your arcade. Update, if not updated, which I did today. Also downloaded everything. Remove your credit card. Something that I did think about. Like, this is good. This is awesome. Disconnect from Wi-Fi for now. Don't you think that's a little strange, disconnecting it from Wi-Fi? Only to re-download those games. Having to buy them all over again? For why? Because somebody else bought them? We're gonna head into Target. It stinks because iiRcade was so close to just like harnessing, I sound like Dr. Octavius here, harnessing the power of the sun in your hands. Like, if they could have got Capcom titles, Konami, Sega, that would have got some real competition for Arcade 1-Up, 14 and under. Like, these prices were a little bit better. I think it was like 2 for $20 the last time I was here. iiRcade's relationship with Sega, they had so many titles, and the fact that Arcade 1-Up basically just had the Golden Axe cab, I always thought that we'd see more Sega titles from iiRcade. I mean, just imagine with all these hacks, like all these games we're seeing here, we could just actually just have them all at home. You wouldn't have to buy any of these things. In a way, it kind of takes the fun out of it. I don't mind purchasing games from iiRcade. People are like, why? If Mystery Encoder's going to give them to you for free? Just for peace of mind, just to have it, you know? In case I can't get those games, I want to have everything I can on my iiRcade Gold. Whether I do anything to it or not, I'm happy with the games that I have on there, and I'm just going to take it for what it is. And the backside of Mario. But is there a chance, like, could they actually, down the road, somebody else buy iiRcade, and we can buy more games? Like, there could be completely different titles. And that's one thing that people, I mean, legitimately have the right to say is they could have did a little bit better on some of their titles. Well, what if the next company does? DC Comics, DC, Batman, The Flash, Superman. It's owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers owns Six Flags. Did you know that Six Flags once filed bankruptcy too? They're still there. It's not impossible, the fact that somebody could buy iiRcade, restart it up again, give us completely different games, do it differently, it's not impossible. Some new DC animated movies. I talked about this at a Walmart a few weeks ago. There's another one. Usually Max, that is now HBO, will show these movies. I have not seen these come up yet. I'm a huge fan of these animated movies. Until I see the Flashpoint, the Flash movie, Flash Batman, Batman Flash, I can't say anything. Hopefully I'll get to it this weekend. I'm interested in Batman the Doom That Came to Gotham. This is a sequel to that Batman at Gaslight, which is a good movie. I think he took on Jack the Ripper in that one. Interested in this, not on HBO or Max yet. Along with companies who went out of business, filed bankruptcy, and came back, somebody buying them out. Nostalgia doesn't necessarily have to go on for an extended amount of time. iiRcade was around from 2018 to 2023, that's 5 years. Looking at the Batboat here from the 1966 Batman series. 1966. Batman was on for 2 seasons. Adam West, Burt Ward. Still that iconic scene here where they go down the bat poles. This is really cool. Also Star Trek. I believe Star Trek. Yeah, there was a bunch of movies and then like just series after series. Star Trek The Next Generation. Just a great show. But the original Star Trek, 2 years, 2 seasons. Think of a sports team that won a championship. Looking back, you'll always remember that. You know, when the Lakers won, their first title was Shaq. If the Mavericks would have won, I mean, there's Allen Iverson. You know, when he went to the finals to play the Lakers. I mean, you remember that stuff. It didn't mean that he had to do that 17 times. Nostalgia's nostalgia. You're looking at all this stuff, and you're always going to look back at the iiRcade going, I remember that. You know, it was awesome. They had this. This is what I was into. It was something different. They're either going to come back, or we're just going to take them and do whatever we want with them and still enjoy it, or just enjoy the games that you purchased. But nostalgia doesn't have to last long. You want it to last long. I'm sure the Chicago Bulls, the fans, wish Jordan, I mean, you know, I wish Brett Favre still played for the Packers. I mean, you remember this stuff. Look at the Turtles. Look at the Thing. Oh, yeah. Ninja Turtles had an interesting history. Universal once had the rights. I think actually MGM Studios at Disney World used to have Ninja Turtles there. Nickelodeon, which we'll find somewhere on this package. You're going to see this on an Arcade 1-Up, on an action figure, on any movies coming out, any cartoons. You're going to see the Nickelodeon, and in some cases, you can make the argument that Nickelodeon purchased the Turtles. I mean, look at how they're doing. I mean, they're still relevant. They're still there. Look at Masters of the Universe came back. Again, I mean, how long was He-Man on for? 2 seasons? I mean, you see all these different versions, and newer cartoons were, you know, these were the classics. I mean, this is what I would have watched in '83. Some of these other ones, I mean, I don't think they did as good because, yeah, the man he faces, we know who he is. Indiana Jones, I mean, there's things that will last the test of time. You can bring back a 1989 Ninja Turtle here, and, you know, a 44-year-old like myself is going to go crazy over this and say, hey, I mean, I remember this, the logo, I love it. I mean, this is the same color as, if he's still up here, you can see that tone. I mean, they all had different shades of green. They completely nailed it. Look at Raphael. We remember things, and if that's what we end up getting from iiRcade, I'm okay with that. I just think that if you put everything together from start to finish, you can argue the fact that there's a huge possibility that this might not be it for iiRcade. License, Sega, Capcom, Konami, use your imagination on that, the possibilities. going to Michael B's live stream with Michael from iiRcade, and there was just, with everything in all three of those videos, putting this stuff together, looking at a couple of posts, and maybe I'm just being a little too, you know, my conspiracy theory here, taking Big D's, the free city games, P-dubs, with, you know, make sure you're not hooked up to Wi-Fi, you know, just temporarily kind of put that in, like, is there a chance down the road? I mean, we've seen major companies come back after bankruptcy. iiRcade, it could be a successful company again. It could be better. It's possible. Regardless if they come back or not, we're gonna be able to do whatever we want. Mystery Encoder is on board. You know, Buy Stuff Arcades could get, the Buy Stuff store could be on board. We don't, Glenn's Retro Gaming. There's endless possibilities here. It's exciting, there's good news. This isn't a sad video at the end. I wanna say thank you to iiRcade, thank you to John, thank you to Michael. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad that I picked up an iiRcade Gold. I have the Space Invaders. I purchased as many games as I could get this month. And regardless of what happens, I'm happy to have those games. It brought me more nostalgia, something to look back at and to be happy about. And I think a lot of us feel that way. There's some disappointment, yeah. I wish they could have got more titles. I wish we could have did more with these light guns, but we can. There's more coming. I just thought that there's a possibility with everything that's transpired. It's not completely impossible. iiRcade could come back. Sometimes different and improved can be a good thing. Look at Apple.